well, they couldn't get Warner Brothers Discovery, so they're going in on AI. And actually, its cash portion is less, but there's some quotas they should hit.
Yeah, I mean, the price was initially described to me as $600 million. I spoke to enough different people where there is an earnout that would get to 600 and perhaps even more. The initial upfront money is less than that, but still a big payday for a company that nobody even knew existed really until Netflix announced this deal.
Right.
You know, Ben Affleck had been out there giving some really interesting public statements on AI, but it seemed just as sort of a curious filmmaker, not as someone who'd started his own company.
The performance triggers are interesting when you just stop and look at what InterPositive does, right? The tools that it makes allows filmmakers to alter existing footage. Would you just talk a little bit about that, Lucas, and why it's useful to Netflix?
Yeah, well, it's useful on a couple of fronts. One is this is an AI company that is founded by a filmmaker. It's for filmmakers, and if you listen to Ben Affleck talk, you know, they don't train on a bunch of existing work that's already out there. You're not going to run into copyright issues in the way that Google, Facebook, OpenAI, et cetera are. You are supposed to upload your movie as you're making it or your TV show, and the model will train on what you have put into it and can then help you change your shots, adapt your shots, take things out, adjust certain backgrounds. And so it's exactly what Hollywood should want in an AI product, which I think is helpful to Netflix because most people in Hollywood are going to be very mistrustful of companies like Netflix and Amazon when it comes to AI. They're going to assume that they are out to do sort of what you were just talking about with Brody, right? Job displacement.
This is a lot of money. How large is the scale of the engineering talent, the scale of the company? How long has Ben Affleck been building this, basically in stealth?
The company is only a couple years old. The staff is still quite sparse. I think the number caught a lot of people, including myself, off guard, which is one of the reasons why we ended up reporting it, right? The news that Netflix was buying this company had already been announced. What I was most interested in was when I heard how much they had paid for it. But my understanding is that, you know, the company had been out looking to raise money in the private markets and was getting a valuation north of $1 billion. And so when they had the opportunity to sell, they didn't get a price quite that high, but it had to be pretty significant for them to consider doing it and essentially become a proprietary technology for Netflix.
It is interesting. We started the segment by saying, like, for Netflix, biggest acquisitional deal ever, and sort of completely have forgotten about and looked past what happened with the Warner Brothers Discovery bid. Fold that in, where we're at with it.
Waiting on what's going to happen with Warner Brothers and Paramount, right? Netflix is pretty much out. Paramount CEO David Ellison was on the Warner Brothers lot this week talking to some senior staff. They're trying to get that deal approved by the fall so that they don't have to start paying the ticking fee they have that would make their acquisition of Warner Brothers even more expensive.